Hi, Christy here, the Motive Guide, and you're probably wondering, what are you doing with all those silly colored lenses? Well, let me just set a few of these down because I am holding 9 of them. Okay, I love this illustration of how the Enneagram's 9 different types are like 9 different colored lenses. So we naturally think that other people see the world, the problems in the world, problems with situations, co-workers, anything in the world. We can't help ourselves but to think other people think the same way that we do. So when I learned about the Enneagram and heard this example of how each type is kind of like a different colored lens. So someone who's pink isn't going to see or think the same way that someone who's green is. So it's kind of simple, but yet at the same time, we think we know that, right? But we don't truly understand that. And that's one thing I love about learning more about the Enneagram and how much it can help in our relationships. Another example that I really like, I think this is kind of a fun example. You've probably heard the illustration of, is the glass half empty or half full? Well, we talk about that just with, are people pessimistic or optimistic? Just like there's 2 options. Well, I like running that example through the filter of the Enneagram and its 9 different types. So if we were to ask that question to the 9 different Enneagram types, is the glass half empty or half full? Here's a couple fun things that each Enneagram type might think. A 1 might think, that's not exactly half. I think we should measure it to be accurate. A 2 might think, I'm not sure everyone will have enough. Maybe I should share what I have with others. Type 3 might think, you know what? My goal is to have a full glass before I leave this place. A type 4 might think, does everyone have to have the same amount as me? Really? 5s might think it's half full of water and half full of air, so technically it is completely full. A type 6 might think, where did this water come from? Is it filtered? Is it safe? A type 7 possibly could think, really, plain water? Let's add some bubbles and some flavoring and bring it up a notch. 8s might think, this isn't right. Who's in charge of pouring the water? And a type 9 might think, you know what, full or empty, both are right. Let's not make a big deal over this, right? So those are just some fun examples and definitely generalizing the 9 types, but hopefully you can see how there are different perspectives. The Enneagram is more than just optimistic, pessimistic, or even like, simple letters like Myers-Briggs type, here's what I am. The Enneagram has so many more layers and paths for growth and levels of health and different ways to grow and in your life. So how does this help you? First of all, when we start to understand, like really understand, that other people think differently than we do ourselves, man, that changes a lot, doesn't it? When we really start to understand that. So anytime we get activated by somebody or triggered, whichever word you want to use, or if you're in a situation where you just don't understand even what you're doing yourself, you can stop and start to think about things you've learned about the Enneagram, about yourself, and then about others, and start to question, why am I acting that way? Why are they acting that way? Why can't we communicate or get on the same page? What's going on underneath some of the behaviors? Like, what are the motivators behind what I'm doing and what they're doing? Here's another example that maybe this will help you too. When I was first learning about the Enneagram, and I myself am a type 2, I'm the helper the supportive advisor, whichever you want to call it. Well, I was getting really frustrated with somebody at work, and it would be my day off Saturday. I worked on Sundays, so Saturday was the only day I had off with my husband. We'd be out doing stuff, and I would get a text from a coworker saying, "Hey, I need help. I need to find this, or do you know about that?" Or just, all the time, random questions. And I would just get so frustrated. And part of me would be telling myself, just don't answer. It's your day off, right? And you're probably thinking that too. It's your day off. You don't have to answer. Well, if you don't know about twos, here's a couple issues with that type of thinking. First of all, deep down, I really want my teammates to love me and want me on their team. So I don't want to disappoint them. I always want to make them happy. And that includes helping them out whenever I can. And twos also, because of that, have a hard time setting boundaries. I'm always wanting to help other people. And twos also, and myself included, have a hard time realizing my own needs, because I can easily see the needs of others, but to know my own needs and to admit them and even talk to them out loud to someone else is quite a challenge. So as I was learning the Enneagram and applying it to my life, and I was coming across this situation like, why is it making me so upset? I started to know those things about myself. Well, it's hard for me to set boundaries. I just really want to make him happy. I don't want to let my team down. All of those things. And then I realized, wow, I just have the need to completely disconnect this one day. So I was able to bring that to my coworker and talk about it and talk about what was behind his actions. He really just didn't want to forget the things that he needed to get done, so he'd just shoot a quick text, not thinking that I really had to do anything about it at that moment. So this gave us great language and opened the door for us to talk about things and to set some simple boundaries. We went over what's appropriate to text and what's better to email, and those types of things that you're probably like, yeah, you probably should have done that in the first place. So that is just one example in my own life where the Enneagram has really helps to, first of all, look at myself and what I'm going through, and then to look at others, how they see things differently. And then we can bring it together. We have some common language, and we're able to talk things out in such a better way. So I hope you can start to see how the Enneagram can really help you in some of those specific ways. It starts with knowing your main Enneagram type. Do you know your main type? If you don't know your main type, feel free to go to my website. I have a free assessment. It's at themotiveguide.com. You can take my free assessment. And then the second step would be to book a typing session, because you have lots of different parts in you. And this is another thing I wanted to just say about the colored glasses. Some people freak out thinking, oh no, the Enneagram is going to box me in and it's going to label me and confine me. Well, just like if you were to go to a paint store and look for green paint, there's a gazillion types of green paint, right? And the Enneagram's like that too. You could be a type 1 or a type 2, and because of your wings and your levels of health, your levels of growth, the arrows to the different numbers, the path, stress path, the growth path, because of all of those many different factors, you're not going to look the same as anybody else. So yes, the Enneagram gives us great language and helps us define our type, but it doesn't box you in either. So knowing your main type, your dominant type, is the first step. So the free assessment on my website, then booking your typing session is the second step. And then the next step after that would be to take a deep dive into your main type. So I do 5 sessions where we explore those things: the wings, the levels of health, the arrows and the lines to the stress path, the blind spot path, all of those different parts of the Enneagram. And all of that is to help bring some great self-awareness and help you grow in your relationship with yourself and then with others. So thanks for watching this video. Next up, I'm going to be doing overviews of each type. So be sure to stay tuned and look out for those. In the meantime, have a good day. Bye.